God, they haven't canceled us yet?
Unbelievable. Hi there, and welcome to the third episode of Dave and Steve's Video Game Explosion. Wow, it's been 3 episodes.
I can't believe it. Somebody must like us here at Burley TV.
If you saw the first couple, you know that when we first started out, we were a small little production company. We had our little sign, but now they are really starting to spend the Burley dollars.
They are throwing money at this show like you wouldn't believe.
Check out this graphic.
How much do you think that was to make?
$3, $4 for this graphic. But the big news, the big exciting news is we have a second camera.
Unbelievable.
Before we were trapped in one camera. Now we've got 2 cameras. Let's see our second camera.
Look, that's Burley Dollars
at work. They have decided this is the show of all their shows they want to be spending money on. So we got the new second camera. We're very excited.
So watch out public access shows.
Watch out high school news, little assignment things that you have to do for credit.
We're coming to get you.
We're coming to get you.
Hey, but you know what this means, of course, that we have 2 cameras now.
Well, there is a downside. Well, it means before, it means they can edit now. Before, when you have one camera and we're sitting here and we can go, Burley Bear Network is the worst, cheapest people in the world and they're paying us slave wages.
They got to run that.
They got to run that.
They can't cut off that one shot.
Now you got 2 cameras, and that means if I go, the Burley Bear Network is the biggest bunch of See what they did there?
That is so Burley.
It is so Burley.
Hey, we got to take care of some business right now.
We got to get to a couple little bits of business before we talk video games, before we talk Sobe.
Sobe.
Proud sponsor of Dave and Steve's Video Game Explosion.
Sobe.
Taste the flavor.
You know, it's very insulting to them that you don't actually drink the Sobe there.
I don't like the Sobe so much.
All right.
But it's a fantastic product.
We'll edit that, okay? Hey, you know what's been happening with our show? A lot of people have been having trouble finding our show.
And the ratings have been just terrible. We're coming in somewhere behind the 10 Days of James Bond. We're just horrible
And that's
ratings.
because people can't find our show.
Or because 2 guys who shouldn't be in front of a camera talking about video games.
That's not the reason.
Fine, it's because people can't find our show.
And the reason people can't find our show is because Burley TV executives had the genius idea of arranging it so that if you want to record our show, you don't record a show called Dave and Steve's Video Game Explosion. You won't find that in TV Guide or on your TiVo. You have to record a thing called Burley TV.
Which, to give you an idea, it would be as if instead of recording Friends, you had to record a show called, like, 6 insipid people in too large an apartment in New York City.
Why do they do such a thing, Burley TV?
So Burley TV,
it's like they don't want people to watch our show.
That's how you'll find us.
Unbelievable. Hey, another interesting thing about TiVo, this is kind of funny actually to me. It's really interesting.
If you have a TiVo, well, actually, I guess we should say before this.
Under the Fair Disclosure and Practices Act of 1978, I need to tell you people that I do own stock in the TiVo Corporation.
And as long as we're making full disclosure, I am thinking of investing in Sobe because it's good and it pays a very strong dividend.
I think we're going to have to edit that part out.
I think that was illegal. Anyway.
But, you know, the interesting thing about TiVo is it records stuff for you. You record shows you like. And
you pick a show and then it thinks, based on what you record,
what else would this person like?
This person might like some other shows.
And it's interesting. So when you record our show, it's interesting what other shows TiVo records for you. One show, if you record our show, TiVo will start also recording Queer as Folk.
Good show. The other show it records, interestingly enough, is Moonlighting, which I think proves my point that I've always said since the beginning, which is this show lives and dies based on the sexual chemistry, the sexual tension between me and Steve, the whole will they or won't they thing. Very exciting.
Will we?
Or won't we?
I hope the answer is yes.
But not for like a couple episodes.
Sure, we'll get the ratings
like
up.
Maybe a cliffhanger.
Hey, let's get to the games, man.
Remember
last time?
Last week, if you saw our show, we ran out of time and we were just about to review NHL Hits.
2002.
NHL Hits of 2002.
By Midway.
By Midway. And we were planning on reviewing it.
We were really going to. But
something came in the mail today.
And it wasn't Anthrax, it was
a GameCube.
Wow.
And so NHL Hits next week, but this week,
GameCube extravaganza.
GameCube extravaganza.
GameCube.
right, we're back with Dave and Steve's GameCube Extravaganza.
An entire episode devoted to the GameCube. We're going to tell you about it, this system right here.
And I just want to say one thing real quick, which is I've noticed this last week or so that with the Xbox coming out of the GameCube, all of a sudden, Entertainment Weekly magazine, Time magazine, Newsweek, all of a sudden they're reporting on game systems and video games. And I just wanted to say, back off.
Yeah.
This is our area. We invented video game talk shows, video game coverage.
You guys can write about, like, Are There Angels? That's fine. We're not going to do that episode.
The real Jesus. You got to come out with that one every month.
You can do that.
We don't do that. We don't do Colin Powell.
Leave us alone. Just leave us alone.
Back off.
Hey, which one of these should I buy? Should I buy this
A lot
system?
of people are asking us.
Should I buy this? Should I buy Xbox? That's a new one. Should I buy that one?
It's kind of funny. Most of our friends fall into, and people we know and we think the audience fall into three categories. Category one, you've got a Sony PlayStation 2. You see these two new systems coming out, and you're like, well, which of these other two should I buy because I want to have two systems? Category two, you don't have any video game systems, and now you're thinking, oh, it's getting close to Christmas. I want to buy something. Which of the three should I buy? And category three, you host or co-host a video game talk show, and they send them all to you for free. Ha 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 ha. Too bad, suckers.
It's awesome, man.
Category 3 rocks.
It is awesome. Hey, you know what? The first thing I noticed about this when we got it,
I am so excited, by the way, that we finally have this GameCube.
It's so
and it is
cute.
adorable. It is the single
GameCube.
cutest game system ever made.
I love
Far
you, GameCube.
cuter, by the way, than the ColecoVision, which was very cute.
Yes, definitely.
And it's adorable, and they're purple and they're green, and they seem almost like they're like grape and lime or whatever.
Smells a little like grape.
You want it to like.
If you have smell-o-vision, you can probably smell the grape right
they're
here.
Just
Hey,
cute.
I don't know if they can really tell how small this actually
It is so tiny, but this will give you an idea of how small it is. Take a look at this. So as you can see, the GameCube is basically the same size as the eraser of a giant prop pencil. That's tiny.
That's an amazing feat of engineering.
That's amazing.
Right there.
I have no idea if this is true. I think I either read this somewhere or I don't know, maybe in some sort of piece of propaganda, but that the reason the GameCube is so small is that in Japan, housing space is very limited. People live in sort of very small, like cramped quarters, and so they don't have room for a lot of big video games.
I've heard this, but I've also heard Japanese people are afraid of big things.
So, either or. Couple of things about the GameCube just before you get into this. Again, as you're trying to decide,
they should know
which one should I buy, which one should I get.
Right.
Couple of things you need to know. First and foremost, if you've got a Sony PlayStation 2, you can play old PlayStation 1s. This thing comes with these little discs.
Disky.
So all your old Super Nintendo games, cartridges,
right?
They're useless.
Can't use them on this
all
baby.
your old games, Spider-Man game, your old Super games, you cannot play them. So that's something to think about unless they come out with some kind of adapter, which maybe if they're listening to this, they would make a lot of money by building an adapter for this thing. That would help a lot. Two,
big point here.
Very big point. Sony PlayStation 2 is a DVD player. The Xbox is a DVD player.
Supposedly.
Although I am hearing that when Xbox is shipped, they're going to ship without the adapter to let you play DVD players, which is a crazy mistake.
So if I buy Xboxes now, I can't yet play DVDs on it.
No, which is very
kind of Microsoft.
Kind of Microsoft, kind of Gatesy.
Yeah, but you can't play DVDs on this.
But no DVDs on this at all.
If you're like
you
me,
have a giant DVD collection, if you've got all the Debbie Does Dallas series.
Emmanuel in Space.
If you have Emmanuel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in space, in the desert. Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS. They're not going to work on this thing. You can shove them in there all you want. It's a small little disc thing. And the final thing about the GameCube, which is something to really consider before you do buy it, it's not an actual cube. It's kind of more of a rectangular box. A little bit deceitful there.
And now it's time for an exclusive Dave and Steve GameCube interview. Take a look. Wow, this is definitely one of the greatest days of my life.
This is a high point in the 3-episode history of our show.
We have an incredible guest here today.
I don't know how we got this guest. I don't know what show he thinks he's on.
He definitely doesn't think he's on a public access college network, I'll tell you that. All the way here from Tokyo, the designer of GameCube. He's a game designing legend.
A genius in the industry.
Let's welcome him right now, Takashi Miyamoto.
Takashi?
No,
Oh. Please, have a seat. This is incredible. Thank you for being here. And
Thank you.
This has got to be a huge week for you. GameCube is storming America.
How do you feel
How do you
right
feel?
now?
How does it feel?
いやもうびっくりっていうのが一番なんですけども、でも人生の中で一番幸せって感じますね。
Makes sense.
And now we've been dying to ask you this all week. Everybody's been talking about the small game disc. They're so much smaller than the
The
industry
whole box is so
standard.
small. What was the thinking behind it? Why the small discs? Why the small compartments?
とりあえず日本ではやっぱりこう小さいものに行くっていうのがすごく主流なんで、やっぱりそれを逃す手はないということで、
Sure.
そういう感じです。はい。まあでも気をつけなくちゃいけないのはこのディスクも小さいんで、やっぱ目の悪い人なんかちょっと探すのに困っちゃうんじゃないかな。
That is great. That is great. Now, tell us. We're going to ask you this anyway, okay?
We have to ask you. We've heard about that the Game Boy Advance can be able to plug in and we play multiple games that way. What do you got up your sleeve?
There's got to be a special secret here. What else are we going to see out of GameCube?
What's coming down the pike?
これはちょっとあんまし人には言えないんですけどまだ。
Oh, yes, no, our viewers, they're cool. Like, they're not going to tell
There's
anybody.
nobody watching
Just
anyway, so
yes.
just us.
これが次には衛星放送とつながることになるんで、世界中の人が一緒に。
No way.
本当です本当です。
Oh, you heard it here first on
That is
Dave
going
and
to
Steve's
change
Video
the
Game
face of
Explosion.
gaming.
This is incredible.
When? When are we going to see it in the United States? Not just in Japan. When are we going to see it here in the U.S.?
予定では2年以内ということなんですけども。
Wow.
I'm going to hold you to that date.
I am counting the days.
Yes.
We're going to bring you back on that day. Will you come back and see us on that day?
You'll bring it here.
That is great. That is great.
We got to ask because you're here. Obviously, big week, big time for the GameCube, storming America. There's another system, obviously, the Xbox.
Xbox? 何を言ってるのあんた。信じない Xbox まさかあんたらやってるんじゃないでしょうね。あんな Xbox なんて沈下す。
Oh, no, we can bleep that out.
Don't worry,
That's
we'll
okay.
bleep that out.
言わしてもらうけどね、あんなんね別に大きいわけで大きい
Okay,
ばっ
oh,
かりで
no,
ね
we
そんなの
apologize.
信じちゃう
We shouldn't have brought it up.
My fault. I
I'm
apologize.
very sorry.
Thank
We're
you
very
so
sorry.
much for coming.
Yes, thank you so
Wonderful.
much for being
Do you
here.
want to say anything to the? We have an audience of all video game players. Do you want to say anything to them?
私の発明したゲームキューブです。間違いなく Xbox を超えますので、皆さん楽しんでください。
Thank you so much for
Takashi,
coming.
Takashi,
A
Miyamoto,
legend,
everybody.
a
Thank you for
pleasure to
coming.
meet you.
Thank you for
so
being
much.
こち
here.
らこそどうもありがとうござい
Oh,
ます。
if I am in Japan, I promise I will.
We
Thank
will
you.
do that.
That
Thank
would be
you.
excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back after this commercial break. Alrighty, we're back with Dave and Steve's GameCube Extravaganza. We're talking GameCube, and the best way to talk about a GameCube is to talk games.
It's the most important part of it.
And actually, now more than ever, with the whole competition between the three game systems right now, the video game industry is sort of lurching to the right a little bit with a lot more exclusivity. Which means, for example, if you've seen like this really cool game on the Xbox called Halo,
Or Dead or Alive 3.
3, which is really cool looking, you can only play those games on an Xbox.
I have to have an Xbox if I want to play those
Yes,
games.
so you are in trouble if you don't have an Xbox. Luckily for us, of course, we have a game show, talk show. We have all three systems.
We're not in trouble.
Not in trouble. But for you, if you want to play certain games, you have to buy certain systems. And one of the games that is exclusive for the GameCube,
Star Wars Rogue Leader Rogue Squadron 2. People are buying GameCube
this
just
is
to get
probably
this game.
the premier exclusive game for the GameCube
And man,
right
does
now.
it look good.
It is really good.
The graphics. This is why you buy the GameCube,
I
for
think
these
this is
graphics,
incredible.
man.
I do have to say one thing, just so you know where I'm coming from. I am a Star Wars lunatic. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no such thing as a bad Star Wars product. You could have the worst game in the world, like Pong, and or Tony Hawk's skateboard game, and if you make it Star Wars Tony Hawk's skateboard game, then it's a great game as far as I'm concerned. So you have to take my review with a grain of Kessel spice.
But anyways, this game, I mean, it looks great. It's the kind of game you think you're in the movie when you're playing the game.
The
Because
graphics, forget the movie. Right from the get-go, when you put this game in, it has a Lucasfilm logo where they play the Cantina song, do 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 do, and they have dancing stormtroopers that make the LucasArts logo. Those graphics are really good.
Now, George Lucas making stormtroopers cute,
I
I'm
will
not
say
so
this:
sure of.
if stormtroopers are dancing in Attack of the Clones, I will ask for my money back. But in this game, as part of the LucasArts film logo, I accept it.
It's
yes.
okay. It's amazing. You know, the other thing about this game is when you watch people playing it, they're always going like
No,
this.
you're
because
playing,
the graphics
you're
are so
playing this
good.
game, you're on an attack run on the Death Star, you're dodging after a TIE fighter, and for a second you go, wait a second, That looks like a clip from the movie. You're doing the exact kind of dives that they had in the film, and that's worth the price of admission.
But Star Wars Lunatic, if we can count to 10 for a second.
Yes.
There are some bad points about
I will
this
admit
game.
there are a couple of things, and one thing, and I will say, is one of the first great Star Wars games was the original vector graphics game. This game is kind of a souped-up version of that, and it does have those same limitations. So, for example, when you're playing this game and you're shooting at TIE fighters, this is not so much a flight simulator dogfight game as much as it is you're just holding the fire button down, and you're hoping that when they're very far away, you can shoot a lot of them.
I actually think that's kind of fun, though, that it's not such a flight simulator. You know, I don't want to really spend so much time worrying about how to fly the X-Wing. I just like shooting things.
I understand that, but
space.
If you could really get right behind one and really track them down, that would be something.
Maybe more dogfighting.
We'll agree to disagree on that, but yeah,
another
it's
thing,
still good.
Here's another bad point about this game. I can't save this game. I can only save after a new mission. That's 11 minutes. So I can get through 9 minutes, and if I screw up at the end, I got to go all the way back to the beginning.
You get killed near the end, you can't save.
These game designers want to do this so that I can play the game more.
Agreed.
But I'm just angry more. I'm not enjoying the game more.
If you could dock with the medical frigate or something and have Lando Calrissian save your game, that would be nice. Somewhat helpful.
Another drawback here is that you're constantly being asked by your wingman, awaiting orders.
Yeah,
what happened? Did they not give you orders at the base?
The other X-Wing fighter people at the planning were told, just go up there and wing it. Don't worry about it.
It's like there's TIE fighters shooting at us. You don't need
Kill
orders.
the Empire.
Kill the TIE fighters that are shooting at us.
Kill the people that are shooting at us.
That's a drawback. And I gotta say, a big drawback to this game is you can't enjoy this game unless you've seen Star Wars. And, it really is sort of a shamelessly commercial attempt by Lucas to get you to see Star Wars. The most commercial video game, mind you, since the Nintendo game with Ronald McDonald in it.
That game moved a lot of Big Macs, though.
It did. You are right.
One other little note, though, just as a Star Wars lunatic, and I'll agree, because ultimately, to me, how do you judge this game? You judge it by how does attacking an AT-AT look with a snowspeeder?
All Star Wars games have that.
That's how you have to judge these games. And this one looks really cool. You brake, you fire, you loop around it, you bring that sucker down, and it looks good. But I will say a couple of quick other negative points real quick, and these are Star Wars lunatic negative points. Death Star explodes. They use the Death Star exploding from the special edition. That's BS. Original version
Star
rules.
Wars lunatic.
It's still a good point. Also, don't know if anyone noticed, lots of voices from Mark Hamill and Billy D. Williams. You don't hear Harrison Ford a lot in this game.
Yeah, once in a while
Interesting.
You do.
No.
Also, it's very interesting. Lucas somehow lost the rights to Chewbacca, so Chewbacca's not in the game. It's very strange. So anyway, so what would you give this game? I'm wondering right now. How would you rate it on our sliding scale?
As I said, you have to. I'm always going to like these games a lot more. On playability, the fact that I think you could sit down and play this game in 10 hours and beat the whole thing, because when you sit down, you will just play it nonstop. It's probably in my brain, I know it's a rent-it game, but in my heart, it's a buy-it game. Also, LucasArts is coming out with a game. They're making a game called Star Wars Galaxies, which is going to be a sort of an EverQuest full-time, 24-hour-a-day game where you're online and you're interacting with other people and you can train to be a Jedi Knight and all this kind of stuff. I want to be a beta tester on that game. That is going to be the greatest game in the world. So for that reason, and because this is Star Wars, buy this game. It is a great game. I don't care.
If you want to review that game right now, you can just give it your buy rating right now.
I'd buy that game also.
Thank you. As for me, to me, if you happen to have seen Star Wars, sure, borrow it, maybe rent it, but probably just borrow it from a friend who bought it before. But if you're like me, one of the many people who hasn't seen Star Wars, really probably just don't even play it, honestly.
Buy this game, and what's more, buy the GameCube.
Can we
at least agree on that?
We can agree on buy the GameCube.
Buy the GameCube. You got to have this. It's tiny. It fits next to the game.
It's cute. It's fun.
Just buy it.
Hey, let's talk about Sobe for a second.
Before we go, if you saw last week's show,
we did a little ad campaign that we thought would be great for Sobe.
Starring Senor Sobe.
Senor Sobe. But, they actually didn't really like it too much.
Some people did not love Senor Sobe.
For some reason, I don't know why.
So we thought we'd try again with a new ad campaign.
New, this week, coming at you right now, the new ad campaign for Sobe. Right here, watch.
明日も装備、明後日も装備、来週も装備、アメリカングレートパーティー
Wow.
Wow, I want some Sobe right now.
Give me Sobe, man.
I want some right now. Well, hey, Steve, it's been a pleasure as I open my Sobe.
With you, Dave.
This was lots of fun. Hopefully, we'll be back next week with a third camera.
Wow.
We want this show to be an hour, so send emails to Burly Bear telling
Dave and Steve at burlybear.com. And also next week, we promise
finally
NHL Hits 2002.
NHL
You're going to love it.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Enjoy.
How is it? Maybe you got a bad bottle.
Ugh. Thanks for watching.